What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 131 of Nintendo Noise, Flip Screen Games Weekly Nintendo Podcast. I'm your host, Pete Invest, joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Mr. Ken Hicks.
What it do?
Yo, welcome back to the show, my buddy. What's going on?
Yo, I'm living the dream. Just playing Final Fantasy. Well, not Final Fantasy. Persona 3. I'm interested in Unicorn Overlord. Lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Too many RPGs in 2 months. 3
I
months.
like how you're like, oh yeah, I'm playing Final Fantasy. Wait, never mind. No, I'm not. I'm just thinking about playing Final Fantasy while I'm playing Persona.
With Unicorn Overlord just like right around the corner staring me down. Yakuza H just in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, man. Or you could be an absolute sicko like me. And I was joking about this on the Discord this week of like, damn, I'd have to fuck around and juggle 3 RPGs again this year. Like, okay, guess so.
No, ain't nobody got time for that. Not when democracy needs to be saved. That was a video game reference. Not a joke about our upcoming election, but I digress.
Are you a bad enough dude to save the president's daughter, Ken? That's my question. But
Oh,
we'll talk about that on next week's show, because today we got to celebrate belatedly a very special holiday in the world of Nintendo, Mario Day. Of course, March 10th, just a couple days prior to recording. We're catching it a little late because of the timing this year, but of course, it wouldn't be March without Mario Day. And I don't want to say it was weak announcements, because it's like they had things to say, right? We got some release dates, that was
yeah.
great, but not.
So you won't say it. I will. I was watching that entire thing. Like, you go, Nintendo. You go, girl. Give us nothing. Like, like we'll go through it one at a time. But it'd take me like 30 seconds to not trash each announcement. I think if everything was a part of something bigger, I probably would have been impressed. I wouldn't have been mad at any
I
individual
think it
thing.
needed a one more thing,
But
is my thing, right? I
what?
think it was too safe. Is the criticism I have for it, because I think what we got was fine, but what we got was also 10 minutes of very predictable things, and it's just not exciting, right? Especially coming off
Yeah.
of last year, right? Where Mario had such a strong year, right? We got the success of the first movie. We got our first new 2D Mario, like not only just new 2D Mario game, but also like new look for 2D Mario since 2006, right? Like,
Yeah, we got the Super Mario RPG remake.
yeah,
Like,
right.
last year we were eating, we were feasting,
And then
and
to walk away from this, with just like, hey, there's the stuff you already knew you were looking forward to, and now you got some dates. I'm not disappointed to get those dates, but I want something fresh to wet my beak as a Mario fan right now. And maybe that's greedy. Maybe we're being greedy, Ken, because we already had a bunch last year. We
we are
know there's a new
greedy.
console coming, but
We're 100% greedy. But the
but
thing is, they just like they could have stretched out some of the releases. Like the end of last year was incredibly packed. But
Mario
I get
Wonder
it.
and Super RPG came out within like 2 weeks of each other. Like, why
They,
didn't you just punt one of those to March? Like,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Money. They wanted to end before the holiday season, and the
yeah,
games were done. And to be fair, they are two different enough Mario games that if you bought one, you're also, if you're interested in RPGs, most likely going to buy both.
sure.
So I get it, but it does make it seem like there's a little bit of a drought this year. And we'll go into more details with this towards the end of the episode after we go through the list of
Let's
announcements,
jump
if you
into it.
want to
Let's
call
jump
it
into it.
that.
We'll start with the big one, right? Which
But
is,
yeah,
I think a foregone conclusion, right? If you're paying attention at all. But we got the official confirmation from Shigeru Miyamoto and Chris. I forget his last name from Illumination. I can never remember his last name because Miyamoto always just calls him Chris-san, and I'm like, yeah, Chris-san, that's his name, right? It's
what if
not.
his last name is Son? I don't know.
I wish. That would make it so much easier. But we got some hard information, right, about the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, because of course I think they teased the sequel at the end of the first one. The first one made
Yeah.
$1.5 billion or whatever at the box office, right? Like, and it made I'm sure it made them a pretty penny when they sold the exclusive rights to Peacock, and then immediately afterwards Netflix. Like, it's doing pretty good, so I'm sure
Yeah,
they're very
they make
pleased.
their budget back.
Yeah, I think so. I think they made the money back for the sequel. And now we know kind of almost everything there is to know about it, right? Which is that it's coming in April 2026, specifically on April 3rd. That'll be when it gets released in the States, and it's going to come out worldwide later that year. The original directors of the first movie, Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic, will both be returning for the new movie, and that they are just about to start animation on the project now. So I guess like script, voice acting, all that stuff's
The whole
already
nine yards.
done,
And
right?
and they have to bring back the original cast from the first movie. I'm sure that's a
Of course.
given.
Yeah.
Assuming no one gets canceled between now and then. I don't know. We're in war times. You
You never know, right? But
never know.
yeah, I think barring something like that, right? We're pretty much it's all coasting downhill from here, right? Like to this thing. The fact that like it's so crazy to me that movies work this way. Like, because like I feel like with video games, it's like dates are so like, are we gonna get a date? Like in movies, they're like 2 years early. They're like, we're just starting working on the animation, and this is when it comes out. And it's like, oh shit, okay, cool. Like, all right,
Yeah, it is. I guess like the difference is with games, it's like obviously an interactive medium. There's a whole lot more things that could potentially
we
go
gotta
wrong
find the
during
fun.
development and things like that. But with movies, not saying that it's easy by any means or even easier than games, but I feel like if you're an animation studio, you have a system in place to get
I
things out in a timely manner, bearing
Yeah,
any huge shakeups.
I don't mean this at all derogatorily to any other art form, but I think I'm bold enough to say that it's probably harder to make a video game than anything else. Like as a
There are a lot more moving parts for the video
Because
game.
there's
Because if you think
so
about
many
it,
moving
it's
parts for a
everything.
movie, but there's generally that many moving parts for a game, like a bigger game anyway. And also it's interactive, like you said, right? Like it has to also be fun on top of like looking good and sounding good and having a story that you can connect with and like all the same stuff you'd think about, right, in a production like that.
And play testing and things like that.
Yeah, and
I'm
also and you're dealing with programmers and, it's like all kinds of and, like, not to say that there aren't, like, lots of different disciplines getting involved in other mediums or whatever, but yeah, it's just there's so much. The fact that, like, if I took one thing away from reading, Jason Schreier's book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels is that the fact that any video game gets made is a miracle, right? Like, at all. So it's like anytime a game is good, it's like you really better count your lucky fucking stars because even a bad game is really hard to get across the finish line.
So, like, since Nintendo gave us absolutely nothing to work with as far as the
Whoa,
Mario
whoa,
movie
whoa, not
goes,
nothing. Come on. Shigeru Miyamoto said, we'll let you know details when we're ready to share more. But he said, we're thinking about broadening Mario's world further, and it'll have a bright and fun story. Come on, Ken. That's nothing. We know so much. Yoshi's going to be in it,
that could have came
and it's
from
going to be
Chat
bright,
GPT.
and it's going to be
Like,
fun. Come on.
yo, listen. Okay, so with that said, what do you want to see out of this movie? Because I'm assuming you saw the first one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I saw the
What?
first one.
Oh yeah,
Um, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I think kind of where I came down on it was like I think it was very, very charming, and I think that the visual and the art of it was really, really strong. I think the story was predictably kind of shallow, and I don't think that that was necessarily bad for I think what it wanted to do, which was kind of like set the table. I hope that with a sequel, you know, um, where the novelty of it will have worn off and it's not like, "This is the first time Mario's been in a movie and it's good," right? Like, to me, it's like I want to see kind of the pipeline you had from like Sonic to Sonic 2, where like the first Sonic was very like, yeah, this is like a cute kids movie. Like if I had a kid, I would take them to see this and it would not be miserable to sit through, right? Or like as an adult that likes Sonic the Hedgehog, I watched it on a day when I was like homesick from work and was like, this was cute and like low stakes, right? It's like cute little movie about friendship. They played the Sonic songs that I like. What's Ben Schwartz was delightful. Great. Good enough. that was kinda how I felt about this, where it's like, it hit that bar, but it wasn't quite on the level of, like,
It didn't blow you away.
it wasn't something like Spider-Verse. It wasn't something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem was last year, where it's like, this is a great, iteration of an IP that I like, and also it's just a story that has a lot of heart and a good script, and I think it kinda, like, hit just below that bar for me, where I think if you're not a child or, like, the type of person who's gonna be like, "Holy moly, that's every different jump cycle that Mario's ever had, and they got it right," like, if you're not that person, then, like, you're probably not gonna get a lot out of it, and, like, I think it doesn't have to be that, right? Because it has a really good cast, the style and everything was so good. I think if you get into a second movie and you can kinda move beyond the, like, you know, very, very surface level, like, okay, it's here's who the characters are, here's how Mario came here, here's how they meet, let's introduce these relationship dynamics between him and Peach and him and Luigi and him and Donkey Kong and what Bowser's like. Like now that all that's done, I'm excited to see them kind of like play in that sandbox a little more and hopefully
Yeah.
like add some emotional stakes that feel a little bit more, I don't know, like serious.
Like, yeah, exactly. It needs to give us a story worth telling. The first one could get away with a mediocre story if the execution on everything else is great,
Right.
fan service included. This one really needs to make it so, like, I'm glad they made a sequel. Because I walked out of that first movie, and it's like, if I never got a sequel to that, I got
That would
my
be
Mario
fine.
movie. I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah.
They're making a sequel. Okay, you got to make it worthwhile. And one other small nitpick, I like the original, like, Peaches Bowser song. If they do more original songs for the new movie, great. I would love more of the original Mario soundtrack. I don't need "Take on Me" in the sequel. You
That
know what I
was
mean?
that was
Like
my
that irks me.
that was like my biggest gripe, I think, with it was like the needle drop stuff. It sucks. Like
It's
that
like
is like so
unnecessary.
played out in movies and like when it works, right? Because it's like I think of like the needle drop of like what we're bringing up other animated movies, right? Like what's that fucking the song in Spider-Verse? I can't think of the guy's name.
Post Malone.
Post Malone, yeah, yeah, like, that where it's like he's listening to it, right? And it's like, it feels like in universe, like, stuff like that plays better for me. I feel that way about, like, some of the needle drops in, like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie where it's like, it just feels like it fits for what's happening rather than, like, you're just playing a song that is, like, an iconic song to make this moment feel, like, epic, and it's like, you have the Mario music, like,
Like some of the greatest, like, scores of from any video game ever, and you want to just like do like licensed Pop John. Apparently,
they used
I'm
them
not sure if
well
this.
too. Like I think the score overall was really good. It's just like do more of that and less of. And again, right? Like an original thing was like you have Jack Black. Like do something fun. Like
Yeah, and it's like apparently during the I think it's like the chase with Donkey Kong when they first got the carts and everything like that. They originally had like Donkey Kong music during that scene, and then they cut it and replaced it with like I think it's "Take on Me" or something like that. So someone took that clip,
ugh.
muted the audio, replayed it over with the proper Donkey Kong
You should
music,
do
and
like
it
Jungle
just
Japes.
was it that? I think it was something like that.
All
And
time.
just like that, we're copyright struck. Good job.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
I'm good.
My voice is so good. I know.
Too good,
Grant
too good.
Kirkhope's coming for me.
But if nothing else, I am glad that they got the DK rap, even though they didn't credit the writer in the credits. But I
Yep.
digress. That's
Yep.
a different conversation, though. I'm
That's a
glad
different
it's in
one.
there.
But yeah, that's I think my big thing is like I think what I would love is, so I think the kind of like emotional core of the first movie is very much like the Mario Brothers, but it's like they're separated for like the whole movie too. So like I'm I'm excited by the idea of like, okay, like we're gonna probably do like a Super Mario World thing with Yoshi getting introduced and like it'll be like them trying to like save Dinosaur Island or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I think you can do that and get to like lean into the ensemble a little bit more of like bring in Donkey Kong for the full thing. Maybe, I don't know. He's getting his own movie too, so maybe not. But um And you can kind of just like add Yoshi as like the new member of the crew. You got a team of 4 or 5, and then you kind of just like go on an adventure, right? Like I think, there's a lot of space there to iterate because like the story that you're basing it on is going to be so thin. Like I'm imagining we'll probably introduce the Koopa kids, right? And it's like that's where they all get introduced, and they're obviously really great, iconic, colorful characters. These movies are selling a million toys, and it's like they would be a great set of toys.
Yeah.
So it's like the idea that you introduce Yoshi as like the new hero character, they're the new villains to support Bowser, and that, like you can have people to bounce off of that aren't comic. And it's like, I think you're in business, right? Like it's not that hard. You just gotta like, I think, find a way to elevate the emotional core of it a little bit more to not
I was
have it
about to say
just be like fun, right? Like it's like I think of like
exactly.
ongoing, like was the Pixar movie that was like
Or Onward by Pixar with
Onward.
the kids trying to like bring back their dead dad or something like that.
Yeah, they're trying to, like, spend a day with him, and I forget what it's a magic situation, but it's like
And
those.
only bring back his lower half.
Yeah, right, right, and it's like, it was Chris Pratt and Tom Holland were the brothers, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus was the mom and stuff. Like, that movie, I think, is not even, like, one of the best Pixar movies, right? But it's a movie about brothers, right? And, like, that relationship and everything, and I think trying to, like, lean into that more, I think would be good because the first movie, right, very much established that like the brothers are a great duo and they always support each other and like they find strength from each other, right? Like Mario helps
The
Luigi
movie's
be
called the
brave,
Super Mario Brothers.
right? And it's like Mario helps Luigi be brave, Luigi helps Mario believe in himself, and that's why they're so good together. I think if you do a thing where it's like maybe you introduce and maybe this doesn't make sense with the Yoshi thing too, but like maybe you do a thing where it's like you introduce Wario and Waluigi and like or you have some kind of situation where like you create friction between Mario
Oh
and
my goodness.
Luigi and then
Yeah,
they have
listen,
to,
listen.
come
If
together to fix
Waluigi
their bond.
if Waluigi is in this movie, I will make sure it scores $2 billion. I will be there in the nutshell. I will be there
I
in a
know, look at me.
heartbeat.
I will
In a
see this
heartbeat.
movie every day.
I will see this movie every day. You know that guy on Twitter? I refuse to call it X.
We
Uh,
don't do that.
who's
Yeah, I don't
seen
do that.
who, who's seen Dune like 20 times, and every time he sees it, he makes another post like round 23. That will be me with
You're just
Waluigi.
like letterbox reviewing it every day. Like I make a letterbox account just to review the second Mario Brothers movie.
My fiance left me because she said I love Waluigi more than her.
It's true.
Waluigi for Smash. But I digress. I need that. Actually, I don't even care about Yoshi. Give me Wario and Waluigi. We need more of that.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like that's probably where we're going eventually, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 2 is a Super Mario World kind of thing, and then 3 is maybe where we get Wario and Waluigi introduced because we need like new villains. Because otherwise, it's like every movie Bowser's the bad guy, and it's like there. I'm sure Bowser will be in every movie and be like a
Yeah.
player, but like you gotta introduce other things at some point, or it's gonna become stale, right? So
Or they can hit us with like the hard left turn, like Super Mario Brothers 2 is based off of Super Mario RPG or one of those like
that would be
other
fresh
RPG games. Like
because
that'd be
like
interesting.
then you could like make Bowser part of the main cast for a movie too, which would be fun. Of like, okay, like we're gonna team up, right? Like that could be fun. Oh, you know what you could do? You could
Ooh,
do that for you could do that for 3 where you have a situation where you don't have Peach get kidnapped in the second one, and you do, like, a movie that's, like, a hybrid of Super Mario Brothers 2 and Mario, 4, and it's, like, because in 2, right, those are the 4 playable characters. It's Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach. You bring
yeah.
that group back, and then you have them go on the story of Super Mario World and, like, meeting Yoshi and rescuing Dinosaur Island and everything, bringing the Koopa Kids or whatever. Then 3, you can bring back the Peach getting kidnapped storyline if you need, and that could be while Wario and Waluigi get introduced, they kidnap her, and then Bowser joins Mario and Luigi to go rescue her because it's like No, fuck that. Like, if anyone's kidnapping her, it's me, it's not them. And you kinda do a play on the Super Mario RPG thing where it's like, "Okay, we're buddies now, and we'll go fight
It's
Wario."
like, yo, the enemy of thy enemy is thy friend. But
Yeah,
you
I
did
know.
it. You planned out the entire trilogy, unlike certain people
For
with the
free.
Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, and I would've done that for free too. I'm just saying, I just give this stuff away, you know? It's like, come on.
Just
You
listen
know,
to us. Listen to the fans. We know what we want. Yeah. Um, but
I've done
let's
the
see.
work.
Let's
You know, I'm not just some fan asking. I did the work. I know, all right? I've read the
cinema
text.
check.
I've read the
Cinema
text.
check.
Exactly. All right. So let's talk about the other stuff that we learned here because
What other stuff?
we got some dates. Come on. We got some release dates. We got some release dates for some anticipated games here, Ken. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
And you're putting a lot of heft into anticipated games. But I
Whoa, whoa,
digress.
whoa, 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 whoa. Are you about to tell me you're not excited for a remake of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door?
It's just a remaster. It's not like a full on remake, is it?
So what though? That game hasn't been released since the GameCube. I've never played it. It's gonna be new to me.
You
I'm
know what?
excited.
You know what? To be fair, you're right. Nintendo is notoriously awful at game preservation. So for that reason alone, it is
Big
great that it's
it's a
coming out
big
on the
win.
Switch.
And then the
That
next
is a
one,
win. I'll give you that.
Super
And
Mario, or sorry, it's not Super Mario, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, right? Coming on June 27th. You can only play that on 3DS. This is the first time you'll ever be able to play it in HD. That's really nice too.
it's nice. It's just we knew about them. We just
Yeah,
didn't have a date. We
I'm
knew
not
it
gonna
was
sit here and
coming.
say that they're like through the roof hype announcements, but I mean, come on. This is the thing, right? We have been talking a lot about on this show, Ken, about how Nintendo Switch 2 has been delayed. What does the rest of this year look like? We got some answers here now, right? Because we know Princess Peach showdown, right? It's like right around the corner. It's like what, 2 weeks away, something like that.
Something like that.
Um, maybe even one. It's coming up. It's right around the corner.
Soon.
Um, and then we've got now we got May filled in, and then we got June. First half of the year, that's probably all we're gonna get, right? Like, I mean, I'm not anticipating anything else too crazy unless we end up getting one of those directs or we have another big announcement come in. But um, yeah, I mean, I think this is like,
This is
unfortunately, this is
the
probably one
end.
of the biggest announcements you will get from Nintendo this year, Ken. Was dates for these games.
Yeah, because you know the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out. I'm sure you talked about it before. Most likely March or something of
Right.
2025, right? And they're not going to announce the Switch 2 until after the holiday season because they don't want to cannibalize the sales of the Switch. And if there's nothing coming out, if they're saving some of the big guns for the Switch 2, like hypothetically speaking, Metroid Prime 4, which I feel like that game is like pretty much done. There's no way it's not almost done. Uh,
Yeah, probably.
do, like they would probably save that for the Switch too. Even the new Pokemon game doesn't come out till next year.
Mhm.
So it's and also that was very
Anything
unusual
big.
for them to announce it that far in advance. Like they normally announce the Pokemon game the year it comes out. For them to announce, oh, it's coming out next year. I'm like, I'm glad they're getting a longer development cycle though, but I don't want to derail the conversation. But think about it, if a new Switch launches with a brand new Pokemon game, brand new Metroid, and like potentially another Mario game, like a 3D proper
I think
Mario
probably
sequel.
will, right? Because I mean, like, that's the word on the street, right? Like, is that the reason that we're getting this delay is that they want to have more exciting software like in the launch window. And um, I think when you look at what's already come, right? Like what it's time for more of. Yeah, I mean, like 3D Mario is one of the most clear answers because we haven't had anything since Odyssey. And the idea that like we have this movie coming out in 2026, maybe it's like this year's kind of a year off for Mario, and then next year we get new 3D Mario, we get the movie the following year, and then we got the word on the street is that Mario Kart um 9 or 10, I guess, depending on who you ask, um, is supposed to come out in 2025 or 2026. So it's like, you know, I, I think a lot of that kind of stuff is just not gonna it's just not gonna happen this year. So it's like this is the stuff that we've got to look forward to, and it's like I think it is it's one of those years where if you're the type of person that like hasn't played these games and you get into them and they're new to you, then like you'll have a good time. And if you're not, like it's gonna be a slow year. and that's just what it is, you know?
Yeah, and this is the year where if you're a Nintendo fan, you go through your back catalog and you keep an eye out on some of these indie titles coming up, and we'll touch base on
And
those momentarily. But
yeah, yeah, right. Like we're gonna talk a little bit later about Unicorn Overlord and how that's been like a big hit. And it's like I think that's the kind of stuff you got to be looking out for, right? Is like the games like that are gonna be the things I think that are at the end of the year we're looking back on as like the exciting stuff on Switch this year is like whatever of those new games you played, right? Or I sorry, of those re-released games that you played that are new. And then probably, some exciting third party stuff here and there, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I am excited to kind of like have dates on these things now so that, hopefully if and when we get our next big Nintendo Direct that like they're out of the way, right? Like it's like
right,
I want new announcements, I want new things to look forward to. And, you know, for the last couple months like this has been like, well, we know this stuff's coming. Well, we know this stuff's coming, but we don't know when. We don't know what part of the year. And it's like I think we're kind of filling in some of those blanks in a way that, is at least giving us an idea of what we can look forward to, like to spend our time on Switch. Because right now it's like, we can't come off of last year where it's like there were so many game of the year
last year was
contenders.
hot though.
Yeah,
Last year
it
was
was
so
insane.
loaded. Like you could have split that big games from last year into 2 years, and both years would have
Easily,
been fire.
easily.
So it's kind of like most likely you missed something. So
Hmm.
if this is a slow year, and keep in mind we're like what 7 years into the life cycle at this point,
Yep.
it's understandable. I can't be too hard on Nintendo, despite how many roast I can give it. But I give it to
You
Nintendo
want
because I
more
can
out of
take it.
love, right? Like it's like it's I want that next thing to be excited about because of how much I care about what they do, So it's like
Exactly.
it comes from love.
Yeah.
The last, game announcement we got was that, we're getting a couple, classic Mario games from the Game Boy are gonna be coming out, as of recording today, so you can go check them out on NSO. It's gonna be, Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, and Mario Tennis on the Game Boy. Couple classics, so, great games to jump into if you are nostalgic for them or if you haven't checked them out. Some of the fun classic Mario sports titles, and then obviously Dr. Mario, just a great puzzle game. So definitely some fun ones to get added to the collection for sure. And then we had a couple other just like quick little things that like were kind of unrelated to the Mario Day like presentation. Lego and Nintendo announced another set. They're going to be doing a Mario Kart set that's going to be available later this year. And then there is a sale going on the US eShop right now until the 17th. So, as of the week this drops, it'll still be going on. And there's a couple games that have really, really good discounts. The biggest one that I wanted to highlight was Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Um, which is 60% off, which is the lowest price it's ever been. If you get the gold edition, which is like the full, like every single thing that comes with it, 35 bucks. If you get the base edition, it's only 20. That's 67% off. And then if you want just the Rayman DLC, that's 27. So like I know a lot of folks like me kind of missed out on that one, even though we liked the first game because there was a lot of other releases at that time. It just came out during a bad period.
Very easy to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, so this is a great time for you to snap that one up if you need a game to fill out your Switch time this year. That's one I would check out for sure. Um, and then you've got a couple other really good deals too. Mario Party Superstars, Yoshi's Crafted World, Luigi's Mansion 3, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are all 33% off, so they're down to 40 bucks. You got Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020. Hilarious title,
Oh
right?
man.
That's down to
Wait,
24.
when are the Olympics again? Is it
Uh
2024? No, it can't be.
No, yeah, it is. It's this year. They
It
got
is.
messed up
Dang.
because there
The
wasn't one
panini.
in 2020. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Everything got all weird.
yeah, it's like permanently off by like a year now or whatever. So, I guess unless they adjust it again. And then you've also got Mario Tennis Aces and Super Rush that are both 33% off. So those are also down to $40. So
You don't
plenty
need to
of
spend your money on those too.
yeah. I think Super Rush is fun. I think on sale, it's not a bad deal, but just go play the Game Boy one. That's probably the best one.
Yeah, or just like I thought like the Mario sports games that came out during the GameCube era, like those were my jam, and N64 too. Some of
Mhm. I really like
those were
the
great.
original Mario Tennis on N64 a lot. Yeah, that one holds up really well too. Like I played that a lot when when N64 games came to NSO. I was like, damn, this game still hits. Um,
Well, you know what announcement they should have made this time?
what's that?
They should have brought back what was that Mario game that they got rid of a couple of years ago?
Mario 35?
Yeah, they should have brought that back.
Yeah,
That's what they should have done. Like
that
how they're going to have that game for a year and then have it be fire and get rid of it.
I feel like it's such a bummer that they don't like cart that out
Uh,
like around Mario Day. Like if you don't want to have it around like full time, like fine, but like it would be so cool to just be like, yeah, like for a month. It's like it comes back every March or something like that. Like I think would be fun.
yeah, and then like okay, so the top whatever players who do it during this promotional period can get like a special Nintendo prize. Like something like that would cost Nintendo very
They
little
used to
money.
do fun stuff like that back in the day. Like I would love if it was something like that. If like, oh, you're in the leaderboard of Mario 35 when it goes offline, like you'll get like a special Club Nintendo t-shirt that, set whatever, right? Like some shit like that would be really cool, Like it would be a fun like thing like you and I were talking about, right? Like these announcements are fine or whatever, but like it doesn't feel like an event. And Mario Day is great when it feels like an event. And in years past, I think they've done a better job of kind of presenting it with a little pomp and circumstance. And I think something like that, like being like, hey, like we're bringing back Mario 35 for a limited time only today, right? And it's going to be out until, April 10th, right? Would be really cool.
Or hear me out. Super Mario Odyssey 2. S-
Just, just
Just,
logo.
just,
That's it.
just give it to us. Just give it to us.
Just put it out. It's done.
It's done. It's done. Or better yet, Super Mario Galaxy 2. Like get
Wait,
the
that's
remaster of that. It
oh,
never came to the
remaster of that.
Switch.
I was like,
Yeah.
"No, we already have that. That game exists, Ken."
No, no. just,
But yeah, no,
just
that would have been an easy thing to put out on Switch, and like that would have been really exciting. That's another thing you could have done was like bring back Mario 3D All Stars, right? That was like a limited release. Be like, oh, we're printing it again, and there's DLC, and you can get Galaxy too. Like that would have been a cool thing. I would have been very excited about that. You know,
yeah. I wonder like how hard it is to find that Super Mario collection now on for the Switch
I
because
wonder how
I
much it
got
costs.
it. Super Mario.
I bought two. I have a sealed copy because I figured years from now it'll probably be worth a gross amount of money, like the one on Wii is. I was like, screw it. I'll buy a second one.
Oh, jeez.
What's the vibe?
Yes. What? That can't be right.
How much is
Amazon
it?
says 125 bucks.
Let's go.
Ain't no shot. Used 55 on different places. Yeah, no. That
That's
now I
how I
need to check
figured
to
it.
see if I actually opened it. Because if I
3,
didn't,
4
I'm gonna
years
keep
from
it sealed.
now, I'm cashing in. I'm going on vacation. Come on, baby. All right. So we're gonna do. We're gonna talk Mario a little bit more in just a second here, Ken. But before we do that, let me remind you that this episode of Nintendo Noise is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of March. They are, of course, Arnold J. Rimmer, Christopher Valence, Earth Visitor, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, aka Sobi, Snackago, Steve Stompy, Susan Likes Cats and also Boobies, Ty the Dude, and Wakula. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. You're all the reals to the real, and we greatly appreciate your support of this and all of our sister shows. Remember, if you want to show your support just like they did, if you want to get involved with the community or right into the show, if you want to check out any of our sister shows, you can head over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you can find links to all that and much, much more. However you choose to get involved and show your support, we thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nintendo Noise. All right, Ken, we are going to play a little game that I debuted back on the last episode of last year. If
Okay.
loyal listeners will remember, we played or I'm sorry, you know what? I apologize. I didn't introduce this on the last episode of this show. It was the last episode of the Flip Screen Games podcast. I apologize. Because the last episode of the year of this show, we of course played Name That Nintendo Noise. Over on the Flip Screen Games podcast, we had an event called Flip Screen Mania, where we had a big game show we had multiple different games that everybody got to compete in that I put together. And one of those games was a game I created called Best of the Rest. So this is a game where I will have chosen a top 10, and it's an objective top 10. It can't be like the top 10 games of all time as named by IGN, right? Like it's going to be like top 10 bestsellers, top 10 critic aggregation, right? It's going to be something based on numbers, right? So what we're going to do for Mario Day is going to be a special round cuz no one for you to compete against. So it's just for honor, all right? It's just an exhibition
For
match.
the honor, for the glory of mankind.
So here's what we're doing. I found the top 10 Mario games of all time as rated by Metacritic, right? So I'm going to give you the first game on that list, Ken, and then it's going to be your job to fill out the rest of that top 10, the best of that rest, right? So I'm going to tell
All
you
right.
that the number one Mario game, according to Metacritic, is a three-way tie between Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Super Mario Odyssey at 97 points apiece. So now you have 7 games that you need to guess to fill out the rest of this top 10. I will give you how many guesses you want?
Um, so 7 games,
Because
7
before I just
guesses.
would rotate through people until we guessed them all. I don't, how many guesses are we going to give you? I think at some point you lose if you don't get it, right?
All right, all right, all right. So let's see. There are 7 games.
14 guesses, maybe. How's that sound?
No, make it a challenge. Give me 10.
10. All right, baby.
Give me
10. You
10.
got 10. You got 10. So, okay. And here I'll tell you this. There are, like, you don't have to guess them in the right order. You don't need to guess the score. If you want to guess the score, feel free. You get it?
All
Maybe
right.
we'll give you a bonus pointer here or there. We'll see. But all you got to do is name the games. And I think, I don't want you to metagame this too much. Don't psych yourself out. But it's worth considering that games criticism being aggregated, there's kind of a cutoff point for that, right? There are probably some Mario games that are out that might not be on the list because they're too old, but those games have been re-released in some cases. And I'll say this, if you guess a game and a re-release, like a remake of it is on the list, I'm going to give you the points because it's literally impossible for it to have, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're guessing the right game. So I'm being a little
Yeah.
generous on some of these, but because of that, I think it makes it fair because a bunch of those games have been re-released and have not been scored, and then some of them have. So
Okay.
it's a risk reward thing, right? Some of the classics may be on the list, some of the classics may not be on the list. So you tell me what you think. So you've got
All right.
10 guesses, you got to get 7 games. Give me your first guess.
I'm going to go with the gimme out the gate, right? Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64 is not on the list.
Okay, so we're looking newer than that.
You
Super
thought you
Mario.
had a gimme.
Yeah, I thought I had a gimme. Okay, so
I think it's
are
a
we
safe
counting?
bet, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah, you did give me the hint, to be fair, about some of the older games. And I'm assuming by
there are
extension.
N64 games on, right? Like Ocarina of Time is one of the highest ranked games on Metacritic. Like there are N64 games. So
Uh, I'm assuming the 3D
yeah,
All Stars collection wouldn't count, right? Because the combination of 3 different games in one.
I don't know, but I'll tell you it's not on the list.
Okay, that doesn't count as one of the 10s. I just want to know if
No, I won't count
compilations
that as a
count
guess
towards
because
it.
I don't know the answer. So I'll just give you that one. That's a given.
All right, all right. And are
9
we
guesses.
counting? Are we counting spin-offs like Super Mario RPG and things of the sort? So we're talking like mainline Mario games.
It is games with Mario in the title.
Fair.
So spin-offs count.
Spin-offs count. Okay. So with that in mind, Super Mario Sunshine.
Super Mario Sunshine is on the list at number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. Technically, this is what? Hold on, because I'm not counting 1, 2, and 3. on this list. Hold on. It's number 6 on my list of so it's actually number 9 on the list.
Okay, still in the top 10. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
You got one right. You got the points. It's do you want to guess what it got on Metacritic for bonus points? Remember,
92.
there you go. You're right, baby. That's a 92. That's a bonus point. That's a bonus point right there.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. I know my Sunshine, one of my first Mario games. Love it. Well, not
Beautiful,
one of my
beautiful.
first. Actually a lie. That's like one of my fifth, sixth, but
One of my 5th.
one of my fifth. Let's see what else is there.
Okay.
Okay, Super Mario Wonder. I feel like that's a gimme. It has to be, right?
Ken, so you're so close. Like it is like right there, but it's not in the top 10. Like it's tied, but it got bumped because of just
The
how it
three-way number one tie.
yeah. There's a three-way tie of like 7 games, like at one point. So it's like we gotta cut some of these or it's not a top 10, right? It's like every Mario game is like a 90 or higher.
Ah,
so, so yeah, that one unfortunately is not on the list.
I'm shocked that Wonder didn't score higher than Sunshine.
Me
Like
too.
that's
Super Mario Sunshine is very high on this list, I think, for what is, I would say, probably objectively the worst 3D Mario game, even though I like it.
uh so what about Super Mario Bros. Wii or Wii U, like the one they re-released with Bowser's Fury?
Those are, you're giving me multiple different games. You got to pick one.
Uh
Super Mario Bros. Wii U, and Super Mario 3D World are 3 different games there.
oh, Super Mario 3D World.
Super Mario 3D World is on the list.
Alrighty.
Want to guess its score?
93.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. You got it, baby.
Hey, listen, I do this for a living, not really.
That's number 7.
All right. Now Super Mario Maker.
Super Mario Maker is not on the list.
Okay, not one or two, I'm
That is
assuming. Okay.
three incorrect guesses.
Oh.
So
Okay.
7 left.
Okay.
And you still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games that you need to get.
Uh let's go with hmm.
So
Oh
far we
man.
got Super Mario 3D World, 93, and Super Mario Sunshine, 92.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is not on the list. That is 4
Is any
guesses.
Paper Mario on that list?
Is that your next guess?
Just go with OG Paper Mario. Oh, yeah, Paper Mario.
That is correct. Paper Mario is on the list.
Alrighty. There we go. There are
That's
too many Paper Mario games, only a few of them are good.
those 4 wrong guesses. You still got 3 guesses. And you got to get, oh no, sorry, you have 10, right? So you got 6 guesses left. And you only got to get 4 games. So you're doing pretty good.
Alright, alright. So I got 6 guesses left. Uh hmm. Let me see. Mario Kart 8?
Yes. Mario Kart 8, and it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but same game.
8 Deluxe. Okay, sweet. Okay.
That's,
And I bet that one got like a 94.
so yeah, you didn't guess the score on Paper Mario either. So guess that first.
Alright, so Paper Mario, I'm gonna go with a 93.
That
Actually,
is
no, 92. Oh, 93. Oh.
oh.
Ah,
Nope. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ken. I can't give it to you. You backtracked. You had it. It was right there. All right, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What do you think?
that got a 94.
That is wrong. It is a 92.
92. Oh. Oh, okay.
All right, so you got 1, 2, 3 games left.
All right, how many guesses did I do?
You've only done 4, so you're still in good shape. I mean, you've guessed more than that, but I'm only counting the wrong ones. You know.
Oh, okay. So I get 7 wrong
I guess
guesses.
technically, if we count the ones that you got right, you're at 8, so you'd have 2 guesses left, and then you literally couldn't get it. So
Oh, fair.
You get to
uh,
get 2 bonuses though. So maybe you know what? Maybe that's what we'll do. All right, instead of bonus points, you get a bonus guess. You can have
bonus
2 extra
guess.
guesses.
I think I can work with this. I think I
Because
can
right
work
now
with
that means you
this.
got 4 guesses left, Ken. That's how we'll play it out. You got 4 left. 3 games, 4 guesses.
Alrighty.
This is how game
So
development happens. You find the fun.
I know Double Dash isn't on that list. That doesn't make sense.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether or
Even
not
even
Double
though I
Dash is
love
on that
Double
list.
Dash, and Double Dash is one of my favorites. Oh man, actually, Double Dash.
Double Dash is not on the list, Ken.
I knew it.
You
I
got
knew it.
3 guesses left and 3 games.
It's going to be something I didn't even think of, like Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga.
There's at least I never I won't say anything. There's at least 1 game on this I think is like that, of like a really? Like this is that high? But okay.
Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
That is incorrect. 2
Damn.
guesses left, 3 games.
um, man, I don't know.
2 left.
Because we're looking at like the newer Mario games
Are we?
that well, I mean like if 64 isn't on there, then it's like it can't be anything that old unless it got a recent re-release, right?
I don't know. What makes you say that? Who's to say? I don't know.
You know what? Is
The
Mario Kart 64 up there?
Mario Kart 64 is not on the list.
Jeez. Oh
Last guess.
man.
You started off so strong.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, there's like 70 Mario games.
This is easier said than done, bro. Uh let's go with uh,
Last guess.
let's go with the new Super Mario Bros. For the
New
Wii.
Super Mario
Yeah.
Bros. Is not on the list. So, Ken, you didn't get them all, but you did pretty good. You got 4 right. You got 2 bonus correct there. So, I'd say not a bad showing. The 3 games that you missed were number 4, Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3, which is the re-release of Super Mario Brothers 3 on the Game Boy Advance with a 94. Mario Kart Super Circuit, which is the Game Boy Advance Mario Kart, 93. That's number 5. And then Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2 came in at 92. So that's number 8 on the list.
I completely ignored the GBA games. That's on me.
Yep.
And to be fair, I didn't play a lot of Mario on my GBA. I was playing a lot of Pokemon and what was it? Mega Man Battle Network.
Fair enough. I was a big Mario boy. I played all of those games there. Not for the first time, but that's like where I beat them all for the first time, except for one, because that was on the Game Boy Color. Super Mario Deluxe was
Yeah.
that was my
Like
jam.
Deluxe was the only one that I played a lot on the handheld until like the Switch came out. Everything else I just played on the consoles. Like I played 64, Sunshine, Galaxy. But when it came to the handheld games, I like the spin-offs more. Like Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga. It's on the Nintendo Switch Online subscription. If you have it, you should play it if you haven't already, especially since Nintendo isn't doing anything with Mario this year. So
No,
you might as
there's
well.
plenty of games coming out, man. But Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door, right? You cool it. You cool it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna get invited back on this particular podcast because I'm just talking
The
shit for an
Nintendo
hour.
fans are gonna come for you, Ken. You're like this goddamn Sony pony coming on the Nintendo show complaining.
So someone's gonna leave like a package on my front doorstep with like Yoshi's head just like severed off.
On that note, thank you guys for joining us here on another episode of Nintendo Noise. If you want to write in with your hopes and dreams for what comes next for Mario or your thoughts about Mario Day 2024, or any of the other stuff we talked about on this or any other episode of Nintendo Noise. Remember, you can head over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you will find links to all the places you can find us all over the web, including our Discord, including our Patreon. If you want to go above and beyond for your support, get a bunch of perks and goodies, including all of our sister shows. However, you choose to get involved, show your support, or check out the rest of what we're doing here at Flip Screen Games. We thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Nintendo Noise. For the crew, I've been Pete. He's been Ken. We'll see you next week.